Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey folks, we are back. It's Inside Real Estate with Mike Kruizinga, your local DFW Realtor. Hey folks, we're going to get into some talk with our good friend Richard Tonihka over at Goosehead Insurance. By the way, you can reach him anytime, anywhere at 817-286-2002, 817-286-2002. You can give Richard a shout. Highly recommend, getting with him and shopping all your insurance. And, of course, the website also, richard.tonihka.com, richard.tonihka.com. And if you want to talk to us right here, right now, live, 888-787-KLIF, 888-787-KLIF. Richard, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm excellent. And, by the way, we got that information. Where does Kelly McGillis live? North Carolina. Since you put me on the spot. And you know what? That wasn't in the story, that I pulled. Or I missed that part.
Oh, it's definitely a concealed state. Definitely concealed state.
There we go. Now we got that info. So, hey, well, let's get into some insurance talk. You got my girlfriend, Lisa, some quotes the other day. And this is just a prime example, real live, real world example, folks. You're going to end up saving her, I think it was about $600, $700 a year. I looked at the policy. I'm like, wait a second, this price is up. And then I was like, oh, this is for the full year, not the 6 months. And it was.
And one other thing, and you and I were going back on emails, but I try to lock the rates in for as long as I can because everyone knows every 6 months your auto insurance is going to try and raise your rates. So if I can cut out one of those times when they're going to raise the rates for you, I'm going to do that for you. Because like I always say, I don't work for an insurance company. I work for my customers and to make sure that they have the best policy at the best rate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so doing that quote, it was like I told you, saving her money's not going to be an issue whatsoever. It's just about how much does she want to save?
How much do you want to save? Yeah, and she's going to be saving about $50 a month, and same exact policy, same exact coverages. I was like, wow, and I knew she was a little bit high on her policy, and that's just a prime example right there. That's real live, real world. I mean, saving $50 a month, that's pretty huge.
I wish everyone in my life would save me $50 per month on all my bills. I mean. It'd be a pretty great life if they all would.
Yeah. Now, if we could just save that $50, we have such a problem spending in this world instead of saving.
Well, that's the reason that you want to save so you can spend more, right?
Save more, spend more. Isn't that a jingle somewhere? Save more, spend more at some store conglomerate. I think it is. Well,
if not, it will be soon.
It will be soon. Yes.
But. And thank you for bringing that up. That's one of the things I like talking about is, excuse me.
How dare you cough on air?
I know. What I do is I specialize in property casualty, home, auto, life. That's all I deal with. And with having over 20 different carriers, it's hard to keep track of who does what kind of coverages, what is covered in the base policies and what's not. So these agents that are doing auto, home, life, investments, and all this other stuff, honestly, I don't know how they do it. And the one thing that I was telling my wife yesterday when we talked about it, it's like, I don't want to do it. I don't think it's right for my customers because it takes my focus away from what's important to you. The reason that you're calling me is auto, home, and life.
Yeah.
And going in there and getting the best policies, I have to have all the information available. And so going in there and taking care of those quotes and making sure that I'm offering you the right policy for you. And it's more on the home side because like I was telling you, the auto side, I mean, you can match auto policies identically from one to the next because with autos being able to travel across state lines, there has to be that uniform kind of quote, or not quotes, but coverages that travels from one state to the next. And so with that being said, it's really focusing on the home aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And I compared it to going to WebMD and self-diagnosing myself. And I was going to die tomorrow. It was amazing that every time I diagnosed myself, I absolutely had the worst possible disease there was, and I had a very short time to live.
Yeah, doctors and hospitals dream.
But
come on in.
And that's what people do with insurance.
Yeah.
With the absence of knowledge, all you really have to go by is price, right? And so everyone's going to go low price. Well, low price isn't always the answer. Yes, I want to save everybody money. Absolutely. But the first thing that comes first is the policy.
Yeah, good policy.
Yes.
That matches their needs.
Exactly. Because it doesn't matter how much you save every year. If when you need it, it's not there for you, saving that money doesn't do you any good.
No. And there's plenty of discount insurance agents, insurance agencies out there. This is not what we're talking about, because we're not just looking to get a liability card for your car here.
No.
We're looking for a quality policy, whether it's home, auto, life, toys, whatever the case may be, but at a good, fair price. And only you have the ability to go and shop the 20-plus A-rated companies behind the scenes, most of which these are companies that the average consumer cannot go to. And as we've said it before, why go to State Farm and stay in the State Farm box? Why go to Allstate and stay in the Allstate box? You want to shop them, great, shop them. But guess what? You can do that, on your own system with all the companies behind the scenes.
Exactly. And if you go to a website and you fill out that compare now and all that stuff, you're going to get agent after agent after agent calling you because they shop it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they shop it out to those different companies have access to your information. When I shop somebody, I don't put all their contact information in. In fact, I'm very stingy on the amount of contact information that I put out there, because I don't want my information out there, and I'm not going to put anyone else's until I know that you're going to move forward, and then I have to give that particular carrier your information, and then we move forward.
Right.
But going out there and putting your contact information out with a bunch of different companies, I'm not going to do that. Like I said, I don't want my privacy, or I don't want a bunch of phone calls coming my way.
Right.
And I'm not going to be the responsible one for having it go to someone else's.
Yeah, and we get enough calls and spams and everything else as it is anyway.
Oh, it's amazing how many calls I get and from old insurance companies, because just like I shop my customers, I shop myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so every year I come in, and when my policy is about to renew, I shop it again. And the company I left last year is calling me, wanting me back. Well, you should have gave me the rate that I wanted and needed last year,
yeah.
And then I would have stayed with you.
Right.
But we'll look at you again next year, and then
Exactly. Folks, and we talked about this a little bit last week. If you've got loyalty to one particular company, we talked about, my dad in particular, who had been with State Farm forever, when we know he could save money. Look, folks, just because your parents were with a particular company, their grandparents were with a particular company, things have changed. The landscape has changed. And, if you're just into paying more money than you need to, because you think it's a hassle to switch over, let's just take a homeowner's policy, and let's just say, somebody's paying $2,500 and they really ought to only be paying maybe $1,250, half of that. Let's just say they're saving $1,000 a year. Let's just go 5 years. That's $5,000. What if it was 10 years? That's $10,000 that they'd be saving. And maybe that, in the bank or invested wisely turns into other monies. Whatever the case may be. Maybe it's an extra vacation for you and your family, whatever the case may be, but it's more money in your pocket is the bottom line.
Exactly.
And it, the thing about homeowners insurance is it hits you every month in your mortgage, in your escrows. So if you're saving an extra $100 a month, your mortgage payment just went down $100.
And I had a friend that called me up, and his insurance, not his insurance, but his mortgage went up $150. And he was like, what the heck is going on? And I was like, well, everything with your mortgage is consistent and this is before he was a customer. Everything with your mortgage is consistent except for your taxes and your insurance. So one of those things went up.
Right.
And he was like, well, I think my insurance just renewed. And I was like, well, your insurance definitely went up. You might have to look at your taxes also, but just about all that 150 was completely insurance. They went up that much, and it was just, saving him $1,500 on his home insurance policy was no problem whatsoever. And it was a better policy.
Yeah, and I think it's part of our, just part of us, as people, is we're so busy with our lives, and it's easier for us to just pay it. We just go along with it and we pay it until we get tired of it. But we may not get tired of it until 5 or 10 years down the line. Meanwhile, we've wasted all this money. Folks, if you get your new statement, if you're at renewal and you see your mortgage payment has gone up and you're like, oh, wow, what's going on here? Well, you need to give Richard a call. You need to shop this out. You could drop your mortgage payment significantly just by talking to Richard, probably getting a better policy. You may not even have the all-peril policy. Your water coverage may be inferior.
Limited.
Very limited. Most damage, is water-based damage. And most of you, if you're just with, ABC insurance, well, it's probably inferior.
Well, like I've said before, I have a few policies that cover absolutely every type of water damage, except for, of course, flood, but that's a different policy within itself. But just it's funny, this past week, most of the people that came over to my agency, not only did I offer them a better policy at a better price, but all of them talked about the service and giving them or being able to do for them, doing things that their other agents wouldn't do for them.
Yeah.
It just helps also.
Yeah, it's the personal touch. There's no doubt about that. Hey, folks, we've been talking with Richard Tonihka over at Goosehead Insurance. Hey, touch base with him for all of your insurance needs, unless you're just into paying more money for an inferior policy. And who's really into that? And you want that personal touch that Richard can provide. He's right here in the DFW area, in the heart of the DFW area in Arlington. Hey, his phone number is 817-286-2002, 817-286-2002. The website, richardtagency.com, richardtagency.com. Folks, come on back. We're going to take a short break. See you in a few.